The story begins in a classroom at Zhongqing High School, just as the significant unified exam is set to start. Mr. Chen Fan, the teacher, instructed his students to prepare their equipment for the upcoming tests. The teacher emphasized the perilous nature of the martial arts exam, warning that it was certainly not advisable for those with less potent abilities. At that moment, Zhu Jingming, the protagonist of the story, disclosed that he had been transported into this world from another realm. The new environment bore a technological resemblance to its previous one, yet it teemed with fearsome and perilous creatures. In order to combat these creatures, there exist individuals known as the Awakened, who wield their superpowers to safeguard everyone. At the age of 16, each individual has the potential to unlock their unique abilities, which are as varied and peculiar as they are intriguing. The various abilities were categorized into 9 distinct levels, with the majority of individuals only able to master powers ranging from rank F to rank D. Considering this, the main character recalls his own ability, which is a rather simple electric power. Despite possessing power, it was classified as rank E, merely a feeble current that packed a punch no stronger than a taser. Without warning, a classmate inquired about his intention to proceed with the martial arts exam, despite the teacher's cautionary advice. A blonde-haired young man dismissively referred to him as worthless, implying that his presence would only bring shame to the school. He mockingly suggested that a career as a desk worker might suit him better. A girl by the name of Lin Xingli rose from her seat to defend the protagonist, instructing the bully to concern himself with his own affairs. The blonde-haired boy, seething with determination, resolved to prove his superiority to her during the upcoming unified test. After delivering a dire warning to Zhu Jingming about an impending tragic fate on the testing grounds, he storms away in anger. The girl attempted to comfort the protagonist by recommending that he opt for a more secure route inside the city. The application form categorized education into 2 distinct paths, one focused on liberal arts and the other on martial arts. Individuals who opt for a life dedicated to martial arts must venture into perilous areas to confront formidable creatures. Only upon successfully completing this test would individuals gain entry into a university where they could officially be recognized as ability users. The main character realizes that avoiding the exam won't protect him from the ever-present threat of beasts that could strike at any time. He recalls a painful memory from his past, a time when a beast tide swept through and his parents were lost to its devastation. Due to past experiences, he is determined to never feel helpless or defenseless against looming dangers again. With the form clutched in his hand, he resolved to select the martial arts exam. As the sun dipped below the horizon, the school building stood silhouetted against the evening sky. Within the confines of a room, the shadowy figure of the main character emerges, diligently practicing with a spear. His fingers wrapped firmly around the weapon, channeling his electric energy through it. He practiced diligently with the energized spear, determined to improve his skills. After a period of rigorous training, the main character found themselves utterly worn out and gasping for air. Exhausted beyond measure, he crumpled to the floor, murmuring about his inability to continue practicing at that moment. As he lay down, he contemplated how his spear technique granted him a slight advantage over other E-class awakened individuals. He reflected on the fact that, each year, the number of injuries and fatalities continued to rise among martial artists ranked below D-class. With unwavering determination, the young man tightened his fist, resolving to put forth his utmost effort to gain admission to an awakened university. At that moment, a blue screen materialized, radiating with a vivid brilliance. Without warning, a system alert appeared, announcing its activation, leaving the young man utterly astonished. The screen displayed a prompt inquiring if he wished to select the beginner's package. He found himself contemplating whether this could be the advantageous shortcut he had been eagerly anticipating. He was curious about the package's contents, so he inquired and discovered it contained an NS rank ability and 200 points. In the world where rank power is an extraordinary rarity, those who awaken to such abilities transform into national titans, receiving abundant resources and support. Upon recognizing the opportunity before him, a blend of nerves and excitement caused him to break out in a cold sweat. Even as someone perceived as a ranky nobody, he believes there remains an opportunity for him to alter his fate. With a confident smile gracing their face, the protagonist extended their hand and took hold of the system's gift, doing so without any hesitation. The system acknowledged that he had successfully exchanged 200 points for the new Thunder God ability. As a potent energy coursed through his body, the young man let out a scream of agony, his form undergoing a dramatic transformation. Electricity in shades of purple and white burst forth from him, forming a sphere brimming with pure energy. The immense power caused the windows of the training room to shatter completely under its force. Outside, a crowd gathered, their expressions marked by astonishment. Among them, a child identified the building as belonging to the Big Bros, prompting everyone to speculate on the events that had transpired. A man filled with concern decided to contact the fire department, fearing that something unfortunate might have occurred to the son of the Aiksu family. As the transformation reached the 70% mark, YRMC's cries of agony filled the air. The sky outside unexpectedly grew dark, leaving people on the street bewildered as they questioned the strange occurrence. A massive dragon composed of crackling lightning suddenly materialized in the sky above a building, striking fear into the hearts of everyone who witnessed its awe-inspiring presence. Inside an office, a man sensed the mounting pressure and pondered whether a formidable creature was making its way into the city. The official, bearing a solemn demeanor, commanded the 3rd Legion of Jianqing to remain on high alert. In the sky, an energy creature hovered ominously, resembling a looming danger poised to threaten the entire city. As the transformation reached its climax, the main character unleashed a final, anguished cry, signaling the completion of the process. Once the energy dissipated, all that remained was a room utterly destroyed by the overwhelming force of the power. He clenched his fist, marveling at the newfound and astonishing strength coursing through his entire being. His new S-rank ability, the Divine Thunder, vastly surpassed the strength of his previous power. Upon surveying the chaos before him, the protagonist realized that he had stirred up quite a ruckus and felt fortunate to have managed to bring it back under control. He recalled receiving 200 ability points and pondered about their purpose. Excited by the simplicity and directness of the trick, he instructed the system to display his panel. The display on the screen revealed the name Xu Jingming alongside his newly acquired S-rank ability and the total of 200 points. The main character made the decision to spend his 200 points to fully enhance his combat abilities in preparation for the exam the following day. He realized that abilities stem from both the physical and the spiritual, prompting him to focus on enhancing these qualities initially. As he allocated the points, the figures representing his attributes began to rise swiftly. A purple aura surrounded him entirely, and he sensed newfound strength coursing through his entire body. The main character experiences a boost in energy and better circulation, with his mind becoming sharper and more agile. Afterward, he tightened his fingers into a fist, feeling the strength that now coursed through his muscles. With newfound speed, the main character began moving rapidly, his strikes cutting through the air with swift precision. He soon comes to the understanding that enhancing his fundamental traits has led to an improvement in his combat abilities as a whole. The illustration depicts an enhancement in his physical form and vitality, offering a detailed explanation of the conversion process for the points. Armed with his newfound abilities, he felt confident about gaining admission to the university, though he remained curious about where he would place in the rankings. The main character propelled his spear skyward, preparing to measure his own power. With the weapon in hand, he makes a decision to visit a martial arts gym, eager to put his newfound abilities to the test. Out of nowhere, a forceful boot swung the door to the training room wide open. The main character was left utterly surprised and bewildered as 3 firefighters hurriedly entered the room. The team leader conveyed that they had received an urgent call reporting a fire at the current site. The main character clarified that the recent disturbance was merely a result of his powers being unstable, assuring everyone that the situation had returned to normal. Upon grasping the circumstances, the fire chief directs his team to tidy up the scene. One of the men watched in awe as the young man demonstrated remarkable strength, waving to them with ease. The neighbors watched with curiosity as the fire truck drove away. A concerned neighbor inquired about the situation, and the main character reassured them that all was well. With that, the main character proceeded to the gym for a training session. To become power users, awakened individuals must engage in constant and essential training. He stepped into Thunder Hall, a gym celebrated across the country for its prestige. In contrast to other costly venues, this particular hall welcomes all high school students without any charge. Upon entering, the main character notices a cluster of girls, immediately recognizing one of them as someone familiar. Tonki, the protagonist's cousin, was present as well, participating in the training. The girl stood beside her friend, both of them engaged in an animated conversation. At that moment, the protagonist made his way over to his cousin, greeting her and inquiring about her presence in that place. Tong Q appeared taken aback and mentioned that she was simply spending time with a few friends at the hall. He bids them farewell and encourages them to enjoy themselves, mentioning that he is on his way to the training room. The cousin noticed something unusual and sensed a change in him, while her friend inquired about the identity of the main character. Tong Qi responded, identifying himself as her cousin, Xu Jingming, and mentioned that he too would be participating in the exam the following day. Xiao Ya's excitement bubbled over as she exclaimed that someone with such a striking face would make the ideal companion to flaunt. Tanki shattered her friend's excitement by disclosing that her cousin's abilities were merely ranked as E-class. A different individual expressed disbelief at the young man's decision to take the exam despite being in the E-class, while his cousin simply considered the choice to be highly risky. Tong Qi shifted the conversation and invited her friends to join her in exploring the martial arts hall. The group departed, with one member noting that taking some time to unwind before the exam was a wise decision. In the training room, the protagonist prepared to launch an attack on a sizable target using his spear. The young man gripped the spear, observing that it seemed lighter than before. It wasn't long before he understood that this was due to his own increased strength. The exam was scheduled for the following day, leaving no opportunity to search for a more appropriate weapon. He resolved to measure his peak strength initially, opting not to rely on his superpower for assistance. Taking a deep breath, the protagonist concentrated intensely, preparing to unleash his most formidable strike. With a surge of strength, he clasped the weapon tightly, readying himself for the attack that was about to unfold. With a determined resolve, he launched himself forward, channeling every ounce of his strength into a swift and forceful movement. The spear's tip struck the target precisely, delivering a powerful and devastating blow. The target bore the marks of damage as the scoreboard displayed a force equivalent to 321 calories. Yet, the room swiftly restored itself to its original pristine condition. The main character found himself taken aback by his own physical prowess, which had nearly doubled and far exceeded the capabilities typically associated with a standard awakening. His eyes shimmered with an intense energy as he resolved to put his newly acquired Purple Sky Divine Thunder to the test. As his focus intensified, a vibrant purple electricity started to wrap around his hands and body. With a swift motion, he launched the energized spear toward the target, and the scoreboard lit up to reveal an astonishing total of 3,021 calories. The RMC marveled at the incredible prowess of the S-rank power, noting that it was already on par with a mid-level user. Lightning continued to crackle off his body as he declared that this was far from his true limit. With a firm hold on the spear, he strategizes to merge his strength, superpower, and skills into a single, powerful strike. With his spear crackling with electricity, he unleashed a potent spinning maneuver. The motion persisted, generating a swirling vortex of white and purple energy enveloping him. At the end of his weapon, a glowing orb of raw energy materialized, poised to launch toward the intended target. With a fierce shout, he released the full extent of the power he had gathered. The attack unleashes a tremendous burst of energy that engulfs everything it encounters. In the main hall, a tremor coursed through the floor, prompting a man to question whether it was caused by an earthquake. On that floor, the powerful vibrations caused his cousin's group to topple over, unable to withstand the shaking that affected everything around them. Within the group, one individual sensed a significant shift in energy and recognized it as originating from a superuser. Tonki's friend was taken aback, realizing that the training area was exclusive to students, while the most powerful among them were sent to another hall. Driven by curiosity about the situation, his cousin made the decision to investigate where all that power was coming from. After detecting the energy fluctuation, the group observes the protagonist emerging from a training room. The cousin, taken aback, inquired about what the main character had been doing in that place. The main character explained that he was simply on his way home to prepare for the day. Her friend expressed a wish for his good fortune, but then swiftly guided the cousin to the room from which the energy had originated. Upon reaching the source of the mysterious power, they discovered the entrance to the room was utterly shattered. As they opened the door, a wave of shock washed over them at the sight of the